it's Jason with another edition of incredibly useful exercises for the double bass by Dennis Whitaker, volume 11, Velocity. I think I'm getting that title right. Let me get this camera on my head. My practice buddy over there, you can see. Hello, boy. And make sure I got a good angle here. So this is another volume that I predict going back to quite a bit, actually. I am really digging this. Let me get a screen grab going here on Modacity, my practice app of choice. So this Velocity, as the name implies, is about building speed, which is a cool thing to wrap your head around. And as with all of these volumes, I love how, or at least all of them that I've done so far, I love how he starts the same way. I've really grown to appreciate this silence and centering, and then something sort of getting the brain, the body going, the tonalization. This one rounds out after some velocity-oriented, speed-oriented exercises with glowing tones, which I think is a great way to just sort of close things out. Very, very cool. And yeah, that's it. Let's get our practice session going here in Modacity. By the way, I have a course coming out on Discover Double Bass. I will link up to an interview I did with Jeff Chalmers. I'll link up to something in the card up top. So yeah, if check that out if you want to. But that course is a very different type of material than these. All of these exercises I think of as more intermediate exercises. The course, or at least the course coming out in a couple of weeks, is oriented towards beginners. I don't think anything in here, certainly in this Velocity, I would classify as beginner, although it's certainly something that you could do after not too much time on the bass. Okay. By the way, this app is Tonal Energy. Back when I used to teach orchestra, I would actually put this up on the screen for students. What the heck is going on here? I don't know. But it's in tune. Relatively in tune. Okay. And I'm gonna... it's here. We've had pretty intense smoke here in the Bay Area. I'm in San Francisco. It's not good to be outside. So it's actually been, so I've actually really enjoyed this pandemic project. I feel like I'm at least doing something good for myself working through these exercises. And yeah, I'm really digging them. Rosin levels. Oh, that's why I thought about that. It's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit today, 65. So not too humid. I've been sticking with this 30% hydration from Leatherwood Bespoke. I'm thinking about going up to the 40% again, or the typical one I use is 50%, but I'm just a little worried that we're going to get another heat wave and it'll be too sticky. So that's a very verbose way of saying I'm going to put on a little bit of rosin because I'm at this lower hydration rosin. And I got my bass rag here, and I'll take off as needed. So we start again with the weird thing to do on a YouTube video, which is 30 seconds of silence. I just took my practice buddy over there on a very long WALK, and so I think he's enjoying the rest. We'll see. Great. How did that go? That went well. And just because I seem to screw something up in every one of these. Let me just make sure I'm getting an okay angle. Okay. Yes. Good enough. Okay. So centering. I'm really enjoying this centering exercise. This is going to be a permanent part of the routine, I think, after I get done going through all these volumes. So again, the way it goes, we're just giving ourselves something to do with these notes, in my opinion. And we think about the feet and their connection to the ground. And then I feel the knees, and I just kind of like loosely move that body part, shake the hips a little bit, think about the hips. And then I think about the breath, maybe take a few breaths. I'm all amped up for my walk, so maybe a few extra breaths, as many bows as I need. Lower back, going up the back, feel the shoulder blades. Breath, and now that neck. Think about that neck. Woo. face. Maybe even wiggle my chin. Feels good. Breath. Now the right arm. Start with the shoulder. Feel its connection to the rest of the body. Maybe I'll move a little bit back and forth. Right elbow. Right wrist. Right fingers. Feeling like I'm pulling the bow, regardless of the direction. Pulling, not pushing. I love that feeling. Breath. Now we go down the left shoulder. Woo! Make sure that base isn't resting on that thumb. Easy to let happen, especially when you're standing. Left elbow. Left wrist. Left fingers. Take a breath. Good. Body. Arms. And breath. That usually takes just about 2 minutes when I'm doing it. So that's very good. And then tonalization. I think this is an exercise that's going to remain in the routine. I've done this probably a half a dozen times at this point in this series, but it's really cool. The dentist just has it on the middle 2 strings. Obviously, you can do it anywhere, but I generally also keep it on the middle 2 strings. These are just preparing us for the work ahead, in my opinion. And we start with the pizzicato. With the idea, again, I'm kind of paraphrasing Dennis or what I understand from these exercises. This is like a really pure way of engaging and releasing the string. So, with that as our foundation, can we do the same thing pizzicato and then replicate it arco? Land. Whoo! That was decent, in my opinion. And having done the center exercise, I really feel like I'm kind of ready to go on these. Then we take the pizzicato out of the picture and just engage the string as if we were playing pizzicato and just have a nice little release. I'm really making sure that I fully engage the string and I don't get what I call like a whiff, which would be like this. Or like a garbage. I'm trying to really get it. So I actually have it under the bow and let it go. And then we lengthen that stroke now with these half notes. So now engage and just sail on that vibrating string. Do the same thing on the D string. And again, repeat these as many times as you want. I'm just kind of moving through for the sake of not making this overly long. It'll probably be plenty long anyway. So now 3 counts. 1, 2, 3. And I'm trying to use about 3/4 of the bow too. And me, you know, lots of different ways to do this, but I'm trying to go about from 1/4 to about 3/4 of the bow. Or no, that math's, is that math bad? Oh dear. Yeah, that math's bad, I think. Well, anyway, regardless, like from about there to there, and then the D string. And then use the whole bow, which is actually a more advanced stroke because we're needing to re-engage the already vibrating string without taking a pause. And then we close it out, like so many of these exercises, with some sort of finishing move. My term, I think, but whoops. Hit the string. And then this last one, I really try to center, think about lengthening my body, just be aware of anything that I'm holding in terms of any muscle group that I'm using that I don't need to be using for that exercise. Important always, but particularly so in this in this velocity. Okay, so now we're doing all different kinds of velocity here. One is power 16ths, which I'm going to kind of give you the Cliff Notes version of this. We play loud and on the string to develop a strong grab in the right fingers at 130, 140, 150, 160, and then we do our finishing move, motion, whatever the term you want to use, at 130. Go for about 30 seconds. I'm probably not going to go quite that long, just again to move through this video. And this is one where The type of playing I'm doing, this is the sort of playing I would do, as Dennis describes, in like Tchaikovsky symphonies or something like that. So we need big, and I need to make sure that my bow has enough tension on it that it doesn't bottom out. And what I mean by that is kind of what was happening there, where you can actually see, if I'm getting a good angle, the stick is it's really touching the hair, and I just can't get the action I want. I'm still not in love with that stroke, but I'm worried about putting on more rosin because of what's to come. So in an ideal world, or in a cooler month, I'd probably put on a little bit of stickier rosin, and that would go a little bit more easily. It's going. I just feel like I'm needing to use a little more weight than I normally would. So again, Cliff Notes version, we're thinking 16th notes. I have a bad tendency to rush, like many string players. My wife always says, why are you practicing a 16th note ahead of the metronome? So I will try to hold myself accountable. And so I'm trying to see if I can, how much sound can I get? And also, how disengaged can I be with everything except the muscle groups that are needed? So I'm really trying to think about sinking my weight into the string, using the weight of my arm as much as possible, making sure that I'm thinking generally on this stroke about these two fingers doing the bulk of the action, and first finger and thumb kind of engaging in opposite directions. That might be a terrible way to describe it, but that's kind of I probably need to think about that a little bit more. Maybe that's bad advice. Sorry if it is, but that's what I'm thinking of at the moment. So I'm trying to go a little bit faster, still trying to stay in time, get a big sound, and only use what's needed. And you do that for 30 seconds, and you're working up a burn at this point. So you really want to make sure, I'm not so much because I'm only doing it for like 5 seconds. But when I do it for the full 30, I'll do it for the full 30. How about that for this one? 1, 2, I'll start at the minute mark on Modacity, and we'll go to the 30-second mark. 1, 2, 3, good enough. Okay, and again, I'm definitely starting to feel a little bit of a burn, but more I'm feeling like the equivalent muscles in my left hand kind of unnecessarily tightening, and I'm trying to just I'm trying to notice that. Say, okay, Jason, that's happening, and just see if I'm at an 8 in terms of activation. Can I bring it down to a 7? How about a 6? And I'm trying to think about that with both sides of the body. Again, before we run out of time, 160 sounds like this. And then we go back to 130 is the idea. And as string players, I think one of the trickiest fundamental things about being a string player is that we're doing two quite different things with our hands. You know, there's so much complexity in a keyboard instrument or a mallet-based percussion instrument, but there's a symmetry to what you're doing in the hands that's just quite different on a string instrument, whether you're plucking or bowing, but especially bowing. And so, but your hands like to do what the other hand does. You know, there's that when I'm talking, I'm usually not just talking with one hand and one's down. Maybe if I'm holding a bass, I am, but I'm trying to notice that human tendency to let the sides of the body do the same thing, and I'm trying to just see if I can keep everything as loose and free as possible, no matter what the circumstances. And that's true for everything on bass, but especially these velocity exercises. Okay, talking too much. So that's Power 16th. Max's Magic, which Max Dimoff, principal bass of the Cleveland Orchestra, wonderful bassist and teacher. This exercise can be done many ways. The way I've taught it traditionally to students is going up just one string like this. So the pattern is 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 4. And if I do it without bowing, you can hear there's a little finger percussion. Now you're not going to hear that as much on the E string. I guess you are. What am I talking about? There's still that. It's a little more work. So the challenge with the way that this particular exercise is laid out in Dennis's books, or this book, at least this volume, I think in all of them though, is you're starting on the E string and you're going over to the neck block on the G string. You're going to be running into a little fatigue if you're like me. So again, the thing I'm trying to do throughout these is just monitor anything that's building up, and I'm going to take a few more breaks than I normally would, just because these are all. I'm kind of extending my abilities with this. So I don't know how this is going to go. I might speed up and slow down during the exercise too. The older I've gotten and the more I've done exercises like this, the more I think that is totally cool and actually quite helpful in many ways. So here we go. Oh, by the way, I'm doing I'm slur. Oh no, I'm doing what he's written. Never mind. Just keep going, Jason. Okay, sorry. Or am I doing? Oh no, I'm doing something different. I'm doubling this pattern. So I'm doing like down, up. You can do it many different ways. That's the way I learned it. So I guess that's the way I'm doing it. Maybe I'll try what he wrote though. Okay. Try to keep myself honest. You really know if you're in tune because that A string goes bananas. Oopsie, I went back into my old ways, but oop, not in tune. There we go. Okay, so I'm starting to feel just a little bit of burn in my muscles, and I can choose. I can choose whatever I want, but what I'm trying to do here is just push myself a little bit, like doing one extra rep in a set, and then give myself a little moment to kind of cool off. And I think I'm going to finish this exercise and go get a drink of water and just shake it out. So I'm gonna just take a second, start on this E flat, and again, just monitor how things are feeling. Try to be as clean as I can and change the tempo as needed. Just checking my intonation. Then I'm gonna check. And you might have noticed in there, I certainly did, that there was a little bit of kind of softness or some miscalculation of the articulation between 2 and 4. That's just going to be, for me, a less powerful motion than either 1-2, which I can really get a good snap, or 1-4, where I'm using all 3 of these fingers. 2-4, I need to make sure that I'm pronating. Whoops, bump the camera on the bass. That I'm pronating as much as possible. And like I said, I'm going to, just in the interest of my body, get a drink of water, but I'll give myself a rating first. That was, I'm feeling optimistic. So we'll raise that up a little bit. Oh, Spiccato's next. I'm glad I'm taking a break. Okay, so go get a little water, breaking out a little sweat here. Got some camera gear out. I got to film one more kind of quicker than this video today after we're done here. And then teach a couple lessons, which is, I don't actually teach much traditional lessons these days, but got 2 students I've had for 4 years maybe, that high school students, and I really, they're awesome. So, okay, so Spiccato. This one, the idea is to do 8 repetitions of a note, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is a great endurance builder for sure. I don't remember if Dennis recommends keeping going if you lose it. For me, I sometimes make it all the way to the end in one fell swoop, and I feel a sense of pride. But I also, if I'm feeling like I'm tightening up particularly, or just getting fatigued, I'll stop in the middle, give myself a little break. So I have no idea, and I don't know what tempo I'm going to do either. I'm just going to sort of see how I'm feeling today. And you could, pardon me, you could certainly do this multiple times at different dynamics or different tempos, or like I often do, I just kind of vary that as I do the exercise, kind of play around with the colors and textures and speed. Okay, so here we go. And I'm going to start on the string because I am from the orchestral tradition, and I trying to get 8 bass players to land, or 40 string players to land from off the string is very challenging. So I'm going to start from the string. Key of F major, which is a great one because it starts on the E string and a closed note. Open strings behave very differently than closed strings, and since we only have 4 open strings and a ton of non-open strings, if you're trying to develop your strokes generally, I recommend practicing, and the general recommendation I think is practicing closed notes. Okay, I'm learning I can't talk and do this, so I gotta focus now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, good. So just so you don't have to listen to me. I love when I tell myself good. But I'm just feeling like I'm carrying the bow at that particular speed. And just kind of monitoring that whole chain from my feet up, but particularly from my back all the way down to my fingers on my bow arm, and just making sure that I'm only using what I need to use, that I'm staying as even as possible. And again, that I could certainly have gone on into 6s, but I think it's good to sort of feel like I'm standing up straight and tall. Someone's got a string attached to the top of my head, and I'm just thinking about lengthening all the way through my spine into my skull, and that I have a nice grounded feeling with my feet. My knees have a little bit of a give to them. Okay, here we go with 6s. And now you'll notice that I generally slow down a little bit here. I don't know that I will always do that as I practice these. This is kind of a relatively new exercise for me. I didn't really do these in this way, and I might change it all up. And it's a good, interesting topic for sure, how to practice various bow strokes. But I'm sort of noticing that Dennis is flipping between various forms of velocity, right hand and left hand. But here, I stopped just to say, I often, as the number of notes being repeated gets lower, so as we go down in the grouping numbers, I often slow down a little bit and really think about relaxing Like, how little can I use to get the results? Twos. Ones. And by the way, doing starting up bow is another great way to make sure that you're playing evenly. I have a real problem with doing strokes like this evenly, and I'm sure when I watch back late at night in a week or two, this video, I'll be disappointed in myself. But I think there's real benefit in starting up. I remember seeing that in a masterclass, a violin masterclass, actually, years and years ago. That was okay. 3.5. Sure. Okay, 4-note progressive followed by 3-note. 4 notes I actually find easier than 3 notes. I definitely appreciate practicing these with a drone. And you're almost certainly, at least in my practicing over the weekend, I was doing this, so it'll probably happen here. You're going to hear me changing up the speed. You may hear me repeating these more than once. So just the idea is I'll just leave a little bit of this zoomed in here for you to look at. All it does is it just goes up by steps through the A major scale in quote unquote real life. When I'm not kind of doing these walkthrough videos, I would vary the key by week, and any exercise that moves easily to another key like this, I would do it in that other key. And I'm feeling a little bit of, just a little bit of, I'm holding a little more tension than I want to. So if you are holding your bow, sometimes for me, standing like this is a good way to center. If you have your bow down, I really enjoy kind of feeling like I've got my, if I put my hands here, this is a great way for me to center too. And if you're on a stool, you can do the exact same thing. Okay, so 4 notes. There we go. And now for these whole steps, let me just, I'm always paranoid about this. Let me just confirm I am recording still. Yes, okay. These, for my particular hand, and as I'm going up, I like 1-3, 1-3. That would be this one right here. So I do 1-3, 1-3. That's just what floats my boat. And I'm already kind of, I'm thinking thumb position. So you can see, I think you can see, I am bowing into the bass and the neck is on my shoulder and it's very stable. So, oh, geez. There we go. Yeah, and I'm actually going to take a little break here. I'm going to take a little break, I think just monitor this. Maybe the theme of today is monitor your, just pay close attention to how your body's feeling. I'm feeling a little bit of a, I think even for that Max's Magic, this part of my hand is just feeling a little bit more, I'm holding, it's just feeling a little fatigued. So something I like to do, this might seem like a goofy exercise, but I've been doing this since, I don't know, probably early college or maybe even late high school. I find that just like gently shaking the arms like this and doing this for maybe like a minute or so can really help. I think there's a lot of debate in terms of whether you should go up against a wall or do things like this. I see people do this, and then I've also talked to some people who say not to do that, and I just haven't done enough research. I generally just try to work out and pay attention, away from the base and get enough sleep and eat a healthy diet, and then just pay attention to how my body's feeling. And I've never had any bouts with anything. So This is me. Okay, so we're gonna pick up where we left off, turn the drone on, and pay attention to that. We'll do the whole tone again. And for these, by the way, my thumb is fluctuating between a half step and a whole step, and I could talk about that in some other video. Then the idea, anytime I go above the D, I switch from 3 to 2. Intonation is spotty, so I'm going to start in C sharp again. I can check. There's a C sharp. So that, and then we'd flip it around, but I'm out of time. And that's okay. You don't have to do the whole thing every day. I don't feel so anyway. So 3-note progressive, same idea, but 3 notes seems like it should be easier because it's less notes. I find it a little more challenging because the pace of the shift is coming more rapidly, right? I think so. That's what I think anyway. Oh yeah, and then there's this one other move where you finish off the last bar with the finger from the last. The next bar finishes with the old position, and then you move. That's what it does, which is cool and smart. It just is another thing to think about. So maybe a little slower. Although we're practicing for velocity, I don't think that there's much value. But I think that there is a little bit of value we can talk about later. But I don't want to practice fast and sloppy unless it's for an extremely specific purpose that there is in here that we've done before, and I'll show you. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll do these again. So I'm not going to go faster than I can play cleanly and in tune. Again, here I go 3. I do 3 because I'm approaching thumb position. Really feel my connection to that tuner note. Check, trust but verify. Ooh, intonation. 3 gets out of the picture now. It might sound like I have no control over my ability to play in time. And maybe I don't have control over my ability to play in time, but I do. And again, this is what I do. Not that this is good or bad, or you should or shouldn't do this, but I do find that once I establish the new pattern, I'll let my fingers kind of go to just kind of push my velocity a little bit, my capacity for velocity. And then I sometimes do these with a metronome. I often do these incredibly slowly. So anyway, we have a few seconds left, so I'll finish it off. So we're, there we are. See there, I learn. And then when I get into more familiar territory, I'm likely to just get into a more consistent pace. Hopefully that makes sense. And I don't always practice that way. Sometimes I'll just go ya da 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 da, and often separate bows. And yep, that's what I do. Okay, Clarke thumb. Oh, how'd that go? You know what? Better. Clarke thumb drill is another one I love to do with a drone. That I don't practice fast generally, although I guess this is called velocity, so we'll see. Ugh, hold hold on. I think either I'm a bad tuner, which is very likely, or my bass is going sharp as it gets hotter. By the way, if you notice, I'm not using the tune. I'm not reaching for the pegs. Sometimes, if your string's just a little bit sharp, a few tugs on the string will bring it down to where it needs to be, and hopefully, it'll sound a little better to me. I'm trying to be as conservative as possible in my finger motion. I'm trying to stay as close to the string as I can. I'll try to get more of an angle like this. And again, I know where I struggle with these, so you could hear when I got to the easy parts, I let myself test a little bit of velocity. But let me, just to make you think I'm not a weirdo, I'm gonna try, well, you might already think that, but I'm gonna play in tempo. Then we go to 1 as our bass note, and another way I might practice it is doing 2 or 3 or 4 per reps per note. I'm going to do 2 per note. How about that? And that's great for so many reasons, and I know I've talked about this on other videos, so I'll be brief, or as brief as I can. By repeating the notes, you give yourself a rhythmic grid on which to practice. But you give your left hand enough time to learn the passage. But because the pace of the notes is faster, you have a more critical window in which to get the next finger over. Like I'm just going. I have that whole note to think about getting the finger there. If I'm doing 2, whoops, as you can see, I screwed it up. I have a less space to put the finger down, so I have to be more accurate. So it's a great way when you're not quite at the tempo you want to play it. It's a great way it's a great way to build your technique. Long story short. Okay, and then the last way, and I'll turn the drone back on, is starting on 2. So we play here. Ooh. My nemesis. Ooh. Yes, that is, as you could hear, my most out of tune of these. And it's just getting that whole step across the string is a challenge. That position, this is how my hand looks when it's in that position, is also a challenge. Good to practice. Sometimes you need to do that. Or there is often a use case for that fingering. Okay, Bumblebees. My biggest struggle, I'm gonna get another drink while I talk. My biggest struggle with Bumblebees, pause this, is not drifting hopelessly out of tune. So gotta watch out for that. And the way I guard against that out of tune drifting is by stopping and verifying what notes I'm on and actually saying what notes I'm supposed to be on. So the pattern starts with all half steps. So you're in what's called a chromatic position. We're on here D. So D, E flat, E, F. And we start off with thumb, 3, 2, 3. Then, now we do thumb 3, 1, 3 for the next bar. That was terrible, so let's try it again, slower. And Gary Carr does, I remember, Gary Carr is a wonderful instructional course he put out through Dennis Chang's music school. I will try to remember to link up to that. If I don't, apologies, just look up Gary Carr course. Gary starts the course. I think he starts with Bumblebees, but no, he starts with double stops. Very early on, he does these, and he advocates these every day, I believe. And in fact, Bernard Kosman, the Kosman, this is a famous cello exercise, and then Gary Carr is known in the bass world for doing this. It's cool. I'm getting better, actually, as I've tried to prepare for these videos. Anyway, that's a long way of saying maybe the fact that he does this so much is one of the many reasons why Gary Carr's technique is so great, even as he ages. It's pretty incredible. Is the discipline to practicing this stuff. So again, let's try that again with less talking. So going thumb 3 2 3, thumb 3 1 3, then thumb 2 1 2. Here we go. Now the critical moment for me. Can I get low enough to the C sharp? My challenge, my struggle, one of my many struggles in life, this is hopefully a small one, is I've been playing bass for however many stupid amount of years, and I forget that the half steps get bigger as you go back. So I always end up being too sharp as I practice this sort of stuff. Why, Jason? Why? So with that in mind, let's try that again. That was better. Then rinse and repeat, going down half steps. So now we're going to do thumb 3 2 3. And again, intonation paranoia is, so I'm checking. There are many ways to check that. C natural. You know, you've probably noticed if you've watched more than one of these videos, thank you if you have, by the way, that I never really call up the actual tuner to check. I don't know. I just have never found much value in a digital readout telling me I'm out of tune if my ears aren't telling me I'm out of tune. So I'm trying to base it off. I mean, you see at the beginning of this one, and if you've seen any others, you see I always do tune with a tuner. But throughout and I'll check back in if I feel like I'm drifting, but I really try to base my intonation judgment on my ears, whether it's just independently within the bass and the harmonics and the way it's ringing, or against a drone. So C sharp. There's that D there. I can verify if I need to there. I can sort of check against that. It's kind of funky, but I'm going to keep going. Ooh, not bad. Now, there's the B to D. Ooh, what the heck is going on? So there's an example. I'm losing it, so I'm going to go a little bit slower. And if I'm really struggling with it, I might play it really slow down an octave. And then pop it up. Ooh, out of time. Anyway, and probably best to move on. But I found that testing things out down an octave and then putting them back up in the written octave is a really solid way to, I can tell I barely even got through that. But generally, I when I'm not demoing, I do get through the actual exercise. Honest. But actually, that's coming along. Believe it or not, that's better than it's been. So I'm going to go up a half a star. Now, here's the exercise I was referring to earlier. This is one where Dennis spells it out here. When you are learning, and I know I've showed this before, but I'm showing it again. When you are learning this exercise, resist the urge to stop if the notes aren't perfectly in tune. There's a difference between exercising a quick finger action and exercising precise tuning. Boy, that's the point of this exercise. That's a tough pill for me to swallow. If you watch these before, I'm like deeply disappointed. But I'm going to try my best to get up to this high D here. I've been doing better. We'll see today. So it's doing half steps. You go up with 1, 2, and you just kind of expand. Then you go down 2, 3, contract, bring it back in. Then up with 1, 3, up and back. And then at this point, you start to, where is it? You start to do diatonic major exercise, minor exercise, and then one more kind of major one to close it out. There, I do start to hold myself accountable to my intonation, or that measure 19 rather, where those diatonic exercises start. Okay, here goes nothing. Sorry, bumping mics everywhere here today. Okay. Okay, so that's like pretty, the point is just to get moving. So now down. And now we're gonna do whole steps, or my bad rendition of whole steps in this exercise. Oh boy, that was pitiful, but we'll keep going. Now, territory that's a little more comfortable for old Jason here. Measure 19, and the pattern is... that's the pattern, and we do that twice. Then we go down to 21. Twice, and then we do this little... And I love these kinds of exercises. I tend to practice this stuff fairly regularly, so let's give it a shot. Yeah, that was a little better than the first part. Of course, the most challenging hand position for me is this minor position right here, because we've got again, it's that same one that was giving me trouble in the Clarke thumb drills. Very similar, a little bit easier because it's a little bit higher on the bass, but yeah, these are cool. They're just designed to get you moving. This embodies, it's a type of velocity. So I'm trying to be kind. I'm trying to be kind to myself and let bad intonation go when there's a specific purpose like that. Every time I practice, I forget to raise my rating. I think I'm doing a little better on this now. Giving myself 2.5 stars. Okay, trills. These are great. Sorry, one more break. And I'm taking the break in part just because I tend to not take enough breaks in retrospect. And also I'm feeling, after all that thumb position stuff, I'm feeling a little bit of trapezius, something, stuff that doesn't need to be activated is activated. Oh, okay. That is a sleepy dog. In for perhaps just one more round. Might not need another break, but we'll see. Give myself one if I need it. Even trills, upper octave. Dennis explains even and odd trills very well. I think it's kind of an obvious point, so I'll just start. I think that's all we need to say. Okay. I really try to take that center recommendation to heart at the ends of all those. You'll hear that I was letting the exercise kind of run as I got comfortable with position. I'm not going to do that for the variations because they are on a rhythmic grid. I think. I'm not going to do it. Not intentionally do it anyway. So here we go. Variation A. Whoops, what am I doing? Sorry, I lost what? Oh, I go back on 1. Okay, sorry, I lost what I was supposed to do fingering wise when I won't go down. So here we go. variation B. Variation C, I forgot to center between A and B. Good. Variation C, doing 8 for every up bow. Wait, am I doing that right? I forget every time. Dang it. So we are right down here in 32. Just I got to better look at the page as I go down. Oh, I lost it at the end there. I'll do that last line one more time. And I'll tell you, this volume 11, yes, I am noticing improvement in my playing when I'm not practicing. Believe it or not, I actually do practice other things. I just don't record them with a GoPro in my head. So when I've been working on the rep that I'll play for some theoretical event in the future, I've been noticing that that my left hand's articulation's been cleaner. I've been a little bit more confident navigating things, especially things that I'm more in the learning stages. So anyway, yes, I dig this volume. Okay, here we go. Odd trills. This one requires a little more concentration for me than even trills. Center, come back up. Especially over big bass like this, I'm just bowing. The bass is coming into me. I'm bowing into the bass just a little more than I would on a smaller bass. So all this thumb position time, I just need to take care. Okay, variation A. Triplets on the up bow. Good. Variation B, quintuplets on the up bow. Oh, wait, think. It's hard for me to count above 4. It really so. I usually think 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay. Think about lengthening, come back, okay, and then variation C, sevens. I usually think 1, 2, 3 for 1, 2, 3. Timed it out. Not quite. Good. Thumb position hand shapers. Similar to the Kosman, the Gary Carr, the Bumblebees. And similarly, actually, I find these a little bit easier. Generally, when I'm going up in pitch, which is to say down toward the floor, shrinking intervals tend to be easier for me, and I think for most people, than expanding intervals. So, but with that said, I'm going to be checking because I have a tendency to play this one out of tune as I go too. So speed is a plus if you can do it, but I intonation over speed for me for this one for sure. You okay, boy? You okay, boy? Yeah? Okay, give me just a few more minutes, okay? Sorry, Mr. Man. I think I might need to go out. have missed a half step. Sorry, I lost my concentration but now we're on B, C, D. Okay, so we made it up with a few deviations, but that's okay. Going down, now we're... See, you didn't quite make it. And I can always... Yeah, see, I'm... And now with that B flat, which I should be, if my brain's working right, I should be, I guess it's indicated as A sharp here, but... Oh, wait, sorry. Lost it? Oh, yeah, no, sorry, I'm thinking about the wrong one. Right here. And then go back to A. Oh, I'm going to admit defeat on this one. I need to, I think I better wrap up here and give him a break. So, okay, and then Hand Shapers 2, just very briefly, this one is, I find this one a little bit more challenging. I don't think I've even really gotten into this one in this video, series. So I'll try to maybe skip the first one the next time I run into these. If I do run into these, this is a cool one. This coordination, this could also be named concentration, because it takes a lot of, I just have to really, if I'm in the groove with this one, it's just alternating notes. Maybe just double check pitch every once in a while. Whoops, see, I lost it. Ooh, lost it. And then it's a little easier for me going down. He has 2, 3 indicated for that top one. I sometimes do that. I sometimes go to 1, 2, and then you flip it back around. That was actually, that was okay. That was a little bit better than it's gone. And then the way he ends this is one of my favorite exercises. I know I say that about a lot of these exercises, but one of my favorite ones in this series, glowing tones, just letting your ear tune into the natural resonance from the bass, resulting from closed notes that you kind of like stop quick. So you go like this, and you hear that glow. Ooh, so that's the first one. Then we go up to A right here. And that was out of tune. Now it's in tune. It's a good intonation exercise too. Then we go on and we do open A. And if you're hitting other strings like I was a little bit there, you don't really get it. And if you're not really getting the fundamental, and if you don't really move enough air, like that, I'm going to blame it on just not having my rosin level dialed in perfectly, but it's an excuse, but oh well. Okay, going on, B flat. Ooh, I think my mic will pick that up. I can almost hit it. And then I should be hearing that. I'm not really hearing it. Ooh, there a little bit. There it is. And I really have to make sure I'm not muting any of the other strings accidentally with my other fingers. Now we have C natural. Yeah, there we go. I think I played that pretty out of tune earlier today, and I knew because I wasn't getting that sound in my ear. Going on. D. Whoa. There we go. There it is. Open D. It's cool how different notes, depending on the string, get activated. This E flat can be a problem for me, but let's see if I can get it. A little bit. There it is. I think that mic will pick it up. Ooh, that's a nice one. And then E natural. There's a lot that can get activated there. Then F sharp. I should be hearing. that note. Ooh, yeah, there it is. That one's a little more subtle, and I might not be totally in tune on that one. Then close G. Then last line, finish it off, open G. Oh. Putting a little too much weight in, and I'm letting my bow go a little bit this way. That's why you're hearing that buzzing. Then A natural right here. Nice B right here. We're going to hear. There it is. And then last few. D. E. And I don't know. There's something that really, it like gets me in line doing that. And silence. Okay, so that is volume 11. I like the way that Dennis rounds those out like he does there at the end, giving you a little something, a little more meditative at the end. So yeah, those are a lot of fun. Again, like I said an hour ago when I started these, I've got a course coming out next week, maybe something like that, with Discover Double Bass, Beginner Double Bass. It's definitely less. We don't go as deep, but the quality of what we do is hundreds of hours went into that. So I will link up to some piece of content that Jeff Chalmers at Discover Double Bass has put up in up here or over here or something like that. So you can check out some of that. Definitely check out his site. I'm sure you're following Discover Double Bass anyway, but if not, definitely give it a viewing. It's great stuff. All right, take it easy. Bye.